What's up, everyone? Back with another comic book haul. Today I'm going to focus on some new comic books that I picked up this weekend while traveling. I had to go all the way from Maryland to Ohio and back, and a lot of stops along the way. I got to stop at two different comic book stores, one in Ohio and one in my hometown in Pennsylvania, and I got a lot of stuff. So the first shop I went to was a shop in Ohio. I wasn't real familiar with the area, so I just kind of punched in. If you're ever in an area and you're looking for a comic shop, you can just punch into Google comic shops near me, in case any of you don't know that. So comic shops near me, and it pointed me at this little one, and it was one of those stores where they didn't have a lot. You know, I'm kind of a clearance junkie, so I like to look through 50-cent and dollar bins or look in, half off trades, whatever they got going on. This shop was very bare bones. It pretty much just like the newest new stuff that had come out. But fortunately, I saw the Bonehead books. They had issues 1 and 2 over on their very, very tiny independent rack. I wasn't initially interested in this, but once I actually took the time and paged through the artwork, I was like, wow, this is... I'd watched the Diversity in Comics video, but I just had it on the background. I wasn't paying attention to him, and he was saying the art looked really cool, but I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't actually see it. But I am very, very excited to read these. These look super cool. And then I picked up Punisher the Platoon number 5 because I got they didn't have number 4, but they had number 5, so I grabbed it, and I'm still missing number 4. And then, so one of the things I try to do when I go into a comic shop is I always have at least one objective that I think is easy, because comic shops in general are small businesses, family owned, barely scraping by for the most part. So when you go into a comic shop, I wouldn't say it's rude, but it's not very sincere to pop in and then leave immediately, especially if you don't even ask them, tell them what you're looking for. So in general, when I go into a comic shop, I always have something very easy in the back of my head. I was like, hey, worst case scenario, you can grab this. And it's usually a newer book because a lot of shops are newer. So in this case, I had 3 books already, but I don't know, sometimes you feel the need to get more. So he had a bunch of the metal books, and I finally jumped in. I am not a crossover guy. I don't like the big epics. I'm one of those people that kind of steers away from them. But I've been hearing just a lot of positive buzz about this book. I picked up the Dawnbreaker one. I did not care for it at all. It was not well written. Great drawings by Ethan Van Sciver, but not a well written story, and that really kind of soured my whole taste. I didn't check out casting. I didn't check out The Forge, but the buzz has just been so positive. And then I had a Midtown Comics order where I ordered Hawkman Found. Yeah, Hawkman Found, because I am a big Hawkman fan. So then, I'm sitting there and I'm staring, and he's got issues 1 and 2, and I'm like, just screw it. So I got issues 1, 2, and then issue 4. The only thing that was annoying is they had the metal covers with the rays for all of them except number 1. So my number 1 is different from my other ones, which is not a big deal, but just kind of irks me. And then he had a bunch of copies of number 2, but this was the only actual metal one, and it's let me see if I can focus in on that. Kind of really crunched up in the corner, which I didn't find out until I was already out of that city. So that was kind of, and then they didn't have issue 3, but I don't know. I'm gonna track down. Let's see if I can get The Forge and the casting from another shop, and then try to grab number 3 and get caught up with everyone else, because it's gonna be ending soon. Issue 6 is coming out next month, I believe, and people are really, really hyped about it. They're talking about this book it's really good. So I'm excited to finally jump in on that. So then at another shop I went to, which is a shop I've been to many times, they always have a great selection. It's in Youngstown, Ohio. And he had everything I was looking for. He always does. I've been to the store. I travel there a lot for work because there's a 3D printing factory that we do business with out there. Really well regarded. So I stopped in and I grabbed Batman White Knight number 4. I got the Silencer because of Diversity in Comics recommendation. This was actually even better than he described it. So I was even more, I already went in, I was like, this has got to be really good if you're giving us this high of a recommendation. It was even better. So I was really excited about that. This was I was super, super excited. I'm going to do a larger video about this, But basically, Ethan Van Sciver mentioned that he's going to be coming on board for Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps. I dipped out of Green Lantern at Blackest Night, so like a long time ago. So I really haven't been picking up the Green Lantern books, and I like to, anytime a creator's taking over that I like, I'll pick up the whatever earlier issues I can find. That way I have, I can judge the story better. Because one thing is that's really frustrating is you start getting a series because you like the artist that's taken over, but you're just completely lost in the story and you can't even appreciate the art. This had an awesome cover. I really like the way they're the design for Zod right now. I was thinking about picking it up, Suicide Squad, when he was in it, but I just don't like what they've done with the Suicide Squad. And back in Ostrander's day, Suicide Squad was a good book because people would die. Like, he would use a bunch of nobody characters and they would get killed and they would go leave. And now it just feels like a regular, like, generic villain team up book. So I couldn't do it. But Zod's Will, Part 1, it just come out, prepping for Ethan Van Sciver's run, and this was awesome. So cool. And then because I got all those metal issues, and I got Hawkman Found, I got Batman Lost, and yeah, I'm just feet first, right into metal. I managed to score the Punisher Platoon number 4. And then I think, is this John Mallon's last issue of Cable? I got this as well. I've been picking up the Cable. It's been a pretty fun book. I said, like, when I saw the cover for the Marvel Legacy, I was like, oh wow, it's like a new Exiles book. And it's really not. It's more like an X-Force, but like with people throughout time, which is really cool. And finally, Justice League of America, I got on board with the Prometheus story that started in issue 18, and that was really, really good. So I've been trying to collect like the back issues. I already had 1 through 5. I got number 6, and then I got the new ones, 21, which was like an amazing standalone story. I'm a fan of the Ray, and if you're a fan of the Ray, definitely check this one out. It is very cool. It's basically just an Aztec Ray team-up book, and we always have to question when you've got the female version, ethnic version of a character. Is it done with good intentions? Is it done with an actual representation, or is it just done for diversity points? I think this character is going to be pretty good. I'm kind of bummed because Steve Orlando is not... I think the book's getting canceled because of the Justice League No Justice or whatever. So I'm kind of bummed about that because it seems like he had some plans for her, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, this was a really fun little team-up book. Really not a Justice League story at all, just a team-up between these two characters. And there's like a larger plot that ties into this stuff. And then I got 22, 23, so I'm pretty much caught up. And then he had 2 of the one-shots. I don't know. I went back and forth in getting these. I decided to get them just because it was Orlando. But it doesn't... I don't think it was like just Orlando. Like this one, it has Hauser on it too, so Jody Hauser. I don't know how much she put into it, but I don't know. I haven't read them yet. I'll go check them out. So those are just some new comics. I also have an order from Midtown Comic Books coming in soon. Got a bunch of other stuff, so getting caught up on all my new books. It takes me forever. I don't go to the shop every week just because I either broke or I don't have the time or whatever. Also, the town I live in right now, I feel like I move into the towns with the worst local comic shops. I kid you not. Like every time I move into a town, I go to the comic book shop and I just have a horrible experience. And I haven't done a pull list in since 2016, the end of 2015, and I've been able to keep up with everything, so I'm not super worried about it. But man, I just have terrible luck with my local comic shop. So it's always like traveling for work, stop at a comic shop. Traveling to go see family, stop at a comic shop. Worst case scenario, order from Midtown. Kind of in one of those ruts. So I'm really excited to read these. I'm going to do a review on a couple of them. Definitely going to take a larger look at Green Lantern, or Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, and kind of why that book was so cool. So let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, what you're excited about, if you're reading metal, if you're as stoked as everyone else is. And until then, go read a comic. Any comic.